Drake London, a sleeping giant? Oh, look who decided to join me right when I was going to start talking about Drake London. Hi, Kinger. Say hi to the camera, buddy. You're a good boy. Do you want to talk about Drake London with me? Yeah. Let's talk about Drake London. So, the Atlanta Falcons added Kirk Cousins. I'm not totally in love with Kirk's fantasy production this season. I just think that, 36-year-old coming off a torn Achilles, I don't totally love that. But I do absolutely love this for his number one wide receiver, Drake London, who I think can make just a massive step in this season. So in my video where I talk about, how I make my projections, go take a look at that to understand my process a little bit better. But let's talk about what it means for Drake London. So for Drake, I end up with 81 receptions, just barely crossing 1,000 yards actually, 1057, and only 4 touchdowns. Funny thing with that is though, I think all of those are actually going to be career highs for Drake London, even though those numbers do sound a little bit pedestrian, especially at receiving touchdowns. Look, it's just, I use historical data to come up with these projections, so it's really, really hard for me to come up with like a 10 touchdown season or an 8 touchdown season for a guy who has in his career, he has 6 career touchdowns? Okay, bye buddy, are you done? You don't want to talk about Kirk Cousins anymore and Drake London? Oh, he's sitting down here. You can't see him now. He's off camera. Hey, hop back up. All right, he's done with me. But I'm not done with Drake London, though. He's back. King's back. He's back by my legs. Okay, he's a good boy. He's going to be down there for the rest of the video. So, like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by my beautiful, wonderful, adorable dog, Drake London, 6 career touchdowns. It's just really hard to get that projection number above that whenever you have 6 in your career. So I ended up with only 4.5 touchdowns for him. But again, that's a number I could totally see being higher. I ended up with 1,000 yards for him, which again is something he's never done before. 81 career receptions, which again, something he's never done before. So I'm basically projecting a career year for Drake London, and those numbers don't even feel high enough. So that gives me a lot of real excitement for what that could mean for Drake London for this season. In my rankings, I've got him at wide receiver 10. So I'm a little more aggressive on him than the rest of the industry. Right now, the Fantasy Pros have him at 14, ESPN 13, and CBS 14. Be sure to go check out that community tab on this channel. That's where I'm going to keep updating rankings. So look, I'm recording this in mid-May. If you're watching this in mid-July or August when you're prepping for your fantasy drafts, go check that out because things change quite a bit, so go check that out to go see if there's updates to that ranking. Also, just keep an eye on the channel. If there's any big breaking news, of course, I'll have some videos up on that as well. No other wide receivers in this room excite me too much. Darnell Mooney, I think, could be kind of a sleeper as well, but, late round dart, might be a waiver wire fodder kind of guy. Nothing I'm really all that excited about. Nothing worth spending too much time on. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to Kyle Pitts. Nope, he's done. He's leaving the room now entirely. So King apparently does not like Kyle Pitts, but I do. I like Kyle Pitts. I've got him as my tight end 7 this season. Fantasy Pros has him at tight end 8, ESPN 9, CBS actually has him at 6. They have him above me. I couldn't quite get there with Kyle Pitts into that regard. That top 6 is pretty well locked and loaded to me. I do prefer Evan Ingram, just the safety, the role of the offense, the number of catches that he's going to get. These are PPR rankings. It's a PPR world that we live in today, so Evan Ingram with his 100 catches potentially, that's just going to be the guy who's going to get closer to 70. But let's talk about exactly what I do think Kyle Pitts' numbers will be. I ended up with 74 receptions for Kyle Pitts. So again, just right there though, looking at like him versus Evan Ingram, who I think is going to be closer to 100. That's like a 25-point gap right there off the top between him and Evan Ingram. But 964 yards, that's awesome to have that out of a tight end. Another one, again, with these Atlanta pass catchers, it's hard to put individual guys high in touchdowns. Only 3.7 touchdowns for Kyle Pitts in my projections. Just really hard for me to be able to assign him more touchdowns than that whenever he just hasn't done it before, And so even though Kirk Cousins is coming in, I'm using Pitts' career to try to project Pitts. I do think, again though, it could be a higher number than that. So that's how I ended up with him at tight end 7, is because even though I'm only projecting 3.7, I think I recognize the upside. That number could easily be 6 or 7, and then all of a sudden he could be a top 4 or top 3 tight end. So those are my thoughts on the pass catchers for the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, I'm really excited about a breakout for Drake London. I'm really excited about the hope and potential of Kyle Pitts still. But the most important player we need to talk about for the Atlanta Falcons